Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. And well, today is Monday, December 2nd. I am talking to you from my hotel room in Cincinnati after a Steelers victory. And there's a lot to talk about. 44-38 at Paycor Stadium. I want to break down a little bit of the offense. Russell Wilson, tremendous game from him. Cam Hayward. Going to talk about some not so good things. Joey Porter Jr., George Pickens as well, and some elements that maybe we forgot about. They're creeping up again. They warrant discussion. Pass rush is one of them. We'll get there. First, want to remind you, though, that we're brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder and Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. So, all right, big picture. Primary storyline coming out of this one. To me, it's the offense, Russell Wilson, and showing that they can win a shootout, frankly. We've seen the Steelers show an ability to win a knockdown, drag it out, AFC North battle, a slop fest, out physical somebody, whatever. I don't think people had doubts whether they could do that. But coming off of games where they scored a combined 37 points, we're talking a lot about Arthur Smith, short yardage, red zone, scoring touchdowns, this, that, and the other, leading into this one where you're going against the Bengals offense that honestly is pretty good with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. The Steelers showed they were up to the task. And that's my biggest takeaway. And they're up to the task. They can do this because of Russell Wilson. His day, absolutely monstrous. I don't remember the last time I saw a quarterback play this well in Pittsburgh. Clearly, it was, Ben Roethlisberger, right? 29 of 38, 414. That was his most yards in 7 years, 3 touchdowns, quarterback rating of 126.4. We can go a bunch of different directions with the Russell Wilson stuff. I know for my column today, I focused on him and Cam Hayward, and them being the primary offseason storylines. They're also the 2 oldest players on the team, and they're playing incredible. It was a cool scene afterward, Mike Tomlin kissing Russell Wilson. Didn't have that one on the bingo card. And then Russell Wilson, always in pads, conducting interviews, and he comes in as we're interviewing Pat Freiermuth. And we were talking about Russ, trying to keep it quiet. And I think we made mention of how many yards he had. Russ didn't even know. But it's just been such a great fit for Russell Wilson here. And he should get an extension. He will get a contract extension. He's giving the Steelers elite quarterback play. On the other side, Cam Hayward, quite literally on the other side, he was the exact opposite side of the locker room. But how good was Cam Hayward in this one too? Batted a pass, a sack. The pass rush was effective. Before the game, I was looking at this. Pro Football Focus had Cam Hayward as the highest graded interior defensive lineman. He is tracking toward a first-team All-Pro season. And we're going through the offseason talking about how much does he have left, the contract, this, that, and the other thing. Cam Hayward's been really, really good and was a part of this thing. This was not a perfect effort by the defense, and nobody thought it was going to be that. But what the Bengals have, how the Steelers were able to get this done, some key plays at key times, I was really impressed with that, and they showed me a lot by showing that they can win games like this. Now, that being said, it's not perfect. There's certainly some things they need to clean up. The 2 biggest, before I get to some of those ancillary points, George Pickens and Joey Porter Jr. One is physical. The other, I would argue, is mental. Pickens, the unsportsmanlike penalties, it just can't keep going. What are we doing here? He is tremendously talented, and we talk about the nonsense every single week. You drop the ball on a guy, and then you fake shoot a gun. They're going to be looking for that. They're going to call that. And then, afterwards, just own it. Mike Tomlin, for crying out loud, I think had enough and said he's got to grow up and he's got to grow up fast. I get that. It's a little different situation with Joey Porter Jr. It was 57 yards in penalties. I believe there were 4 assessed, 2 turned down. He now has 14 penalties, 2 more than he had all of last year, 10 over the last 4 weeks. That's a lot. And that has to change as well. I'm a little bit more forgiving with the penalties than I am the silliness with George Pickens, just because they're physical mistakes. They're things that, yes, he can prevent them. There are technique angles that Joey Porter Jr. can do better, and I believe he will. But, I feel like they're in two kind of different categories. But anyway, it's the big takeaway positive, big takeaway negative. Going to get back into a few more things on the other side of our break, some nuance relative to the pass rush in both directions there. But first, a message from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
Yeah, welcome back to First 10. We're here Monday through Friday, about 10 minutes, talking all things Pittsburgh sports, although after a Steelers game, can't help but to dive into some of that. So I said I wanted to talk about some of the nuance of the pass rush going both ways. But one thing that, I want to kind of expand out and get on a little bit more big picture stuff with the Steelers as well. But look around the AFC. Look at some other teams they're going to face. And I mean, do any of them look head and shoulders above the Steelers? I think the Chiefs are flawed. I'm not saying that they're terrible. I mean, they're still tracking toward the number 1 seed. I'm sitting here in my hotel room watching the Buffalo Bills, and yeah, they're playing okay. I mean, they're not 9-2 and soon to be 10-2 for no reason. But are the Steelers that much different? I don't think so. They beat the Ravens. The AFC playoff picture is pretty much set at this point. It's just a matter of seeding. Like, it's those teams. I really don't see a lot there with the Texans, and probably not the Broncos, probably not the Chargers. I mean, the Chargers have some elements that would scare me, but I don't look at any team around the AFC and think that the Steelers are just that far away. Really. I mean, it feels weird to say, we're sitting here coming off a week ago. It felt like the sky was falling after that Cleveland loss. But if the Steelers continue doing some of the things they're doing, especially with elite quarterback play and a defense that I think outside of containing the Bengals, which I'm really not all that upset that they weren't able to do, pretty good team. It's a pretty good team. So, all right, some pass rush stuff that I was intrigued to see how this would go. Dan Moore Jr. struggled against Myles Garrett last week in Cleveland. A much better outing against Trey Hendrickson, who was leading the NFL in sacks. He did nothing. Dan Moore Jr. had a great bounce-back game. I thought the offensive line as a whole played a heck of a lot better, and that was a huge answer for them. A conversation with the Steelers, too, has been their own ability to get after the quarterback, and I thought this was a really good and interesting game relative to that. We spent a lot of time talking about T.J. Watt, moving him around. How do you get him, looking like the T.J. Watt of old? They did some of that. I liked seeing him move around the formation a little bit. They're trying some different things, something Watt talked about afterward. But not only that, and TJ Watt, 3 tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback hits. I mean, that's a stat line you're used to seeing. Same thing with Cam Hayward, 5 tackles, a sack, 2 for a loss, 2 quarterbacks hit, a pass defense. I mean, those are fill it up, very good games. But Nick Herbig contributing. He's been really good since he's gotten an opportunity to play. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens whenever Alex Highsmith comes back next week. That's a very deep rotation. Preston Smith, he's going to be in there as well. But you're telling me you're going to go Watt, Highsmith, and then Nick Herbig, all of the experience that he's gained, looks pretty good when it comes to rushing the pass. The Steelers had 4 sacks today, I do believe. Let me double check that. Yep, 4 sacks. And so they want and need to create more turnovers. They're doing that. I like the Peyton Wilson scoop and score. He had a chance earlier, wasn't able to do it, but finishes this one off. Dante Jackson with his 5th interception. You're getting sacks. You're getting turnovers. That stuff's going to play. And I do like what the defense has been able to do on top of a fantastic effort, again, from the quarterback, from the offense. So that is my big takeaway. They won a shootout. We didn't know if they could. We should probably put to rest all of the concerns about the play calling or what we have here. I think we have a pretty decent football team. That's my takeaway. This all adds up to a pretty decent football team and 5 interesting games the rest of the way. All right, make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and much more from our Post-Gazette, North Shore Drive, Podcast Network, and YouTube channel. Be back here same time, same place. Let's go a little Penguins tomorrow. We'll see. Got that planned and a few other things here on First 10. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.